You are listening to the sounds of the Right On Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 22 of On the Record Jams, brought to you by the Right On Network. I'm AJ.
And I'm Arthur.
And on this episode of On the Record Jams, brought to you by the Right On Network, we are bringing a really good one to you, Arthur. And what are we putting on the record this time?
We are going on the record. We're going to be in 1985, which is 40 years ago, which is crazy to think about. My brother's birthday is in 85, so he's about to turn 40. So happy early birthday to Jeremy for that.
Happy birthday.
So it's crazy, but we're going to 85 and we're going to Zapp, also known as Zapp and Roger or Roger and Zapp. It's different acts, different albums, but we're going to go to Zapp and we're going to do Computer Love. Yes, we are.
Computer Love, Zapp and Roger.
Love. In 1985, which doesn't make any sense, but I for some reason as a kid, nobody can answer my questions about this song, even as a kid. And now, even at this time, 40 years later, I'm still like, I'm not sure how in the world, like, did Roger travel into the future and come back, and instead of winning all the lotteries, he said, I'm just going to make a song about what's going to be happening 40 years from now. Like, I'm going to show up with this and see how it goes. But if you think about Zapp and Roger, well, they're from Ohio. So Ohio players, P-Funk, there's a connection there. So when Roger and his brothers and the rest of the people in the band, they were working on their thing. They did an album independently. It didn't go great, like in the mid 70s. And then they just kind of kept working on their thing. And they somehow bumped into George Clinton and Bootsy. And of course, the P-Funk dudes loved them and said, okay, we need to try to get you guys a record deal. We're going to try to help y'all out where you could get on a major label and have some time to, figure out your thing. And so they ended up on Warner Brothers, which is the same label that Bootsy Collins was on. And also Prince was there at that time as well, but that's a different story for a different time. And so if you know about Zapp and Roger, you got the talk box. So what now people call the T-Pain thing, even though that's auto-tune, not the talk box, but people put them together. You also have like the sound bed for a lot of 90s rap music, like the claps, the bass lines, which a lot of it is coming from Bootsy at the beginning before they ducked off and did their own thing. But this song is the ballad. This is one of their ballads, because even the jam bands in the 70s and 80s, even if they were almost like a borderline instrumental group, because they didn't even want to write songs with lyrics in them, they would all say, hey, let's quit messing around and do a ballad. And then they would get like as serious as they were capable of getting and try to make a ballad. But even with these guys, they were so funky and so abnormal and so weird that Roger and Zapp show up with a song in 1985 called Computer Love. I don't know about you, but I didn't have a computer at my house in 1985. I mean,
no.
Did you have an Atari maybe?
Yes, an Atari, yes. A computer, no.
Yeah, there was no computers. And so maybe do some.
My parents didn't have a computer until the year 1999 or 2000.
Yeah. So it's a ballad. It's an 80s power ballad. It's funky. It's catchy. You know what's going on immediately because they just kind of drop you into the music. You know the tempo of it. It's definitive. It's been sampled by hip hop like a ridiculous number of times. And Roger is using this talk box where a lot of times he's using it to get this higher pitched voice than his normal singing voice. But sometimes he kind of goes back and forth, right? Singing in his regular voice and singing with the talk box. But again, it's not auto-tune. That's him singing for real. So it's like when you get up in the shower or you riding down the street listening to this is kind of hard to sing. Like, it's catchy and you think, well, this guy's got a straw in his mouth on the video. How hard is it to sing this? Oh yeah, this dude's singing. So
Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters and Nirvana fame uses the talk box on Generator because of Roger.
It makes sense, man.
He says it. Yeah.
He wasn't the first one, right? But he really took the experimentation and put it front and center. Oddly enough, he did it more after his time working with P-Funk heavily. So like, if you know More Bounce to the Ounce, that's P-Funk. Like, you could hear the bootsy guitar and you just kind of know that's what it is. But later on, as they went out on their own, like, More Bounce to the Ounce is like 1980. So you're talking, this Computer Love is on the 4th Zapp album. It might be the 6th or 7th Roger related album, because Roger and Zapp did the same thing as kind of Funkadelic and P-Funk did. They had different acts for different types of sounds that they were trying to do. But normally people would associate the Roger music with the more melodic or ballad stuff, and then all the jam and the funk stuff was Zapp. But they kind of pulled a trick on us by 1985 and put basically a funk ballad on a Zapp album. So, and they did the ensemble thing that I love. Like, we talked about this in the last episode, getting the Super Friends together. If you can, why wouldn't you, right?
Why wouldn't you? Yes.
So it's like they have Shirley Murdoch, killer vocalist, and they also have Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band, who at that time was, borderline royalty, vocally speaking. And he's also the father of a lot of people's favorite R&B singers now. Like, people just like trying to sing the way he sings. Not the same amount of power, but that same kind of approach. So he's got Charlie Wilson in the background and Shirley Murdoch singing with him. And then he himself, Roger, is almost like two artists in one too, because there's Talkbox Roger and then there's regular old Roger just singing in his normal voice, which is a little bit deeper. And so he's this kind of eclectic, kind of cool, kind of weird guy in the mid 80s, which that's the greatest time maybe to be weird, right? Is in the mid 80s. Like, you're showing up one minute with a suit on, the next minute you have on like a sparkly jumpsuit with too much of your chest showing, and you got a straw in your mouth and you're singing these songs. And it's like, okay. As a kid, I was like, this seems kind of weird, but he's kind of cool. And these songs are good. So I would just quit asking questions and go back to jamming, right? Like, as a kid, and then come back as a teenager, you couldn't, at least in my case, I felt like I couldn't get away from Zapp because they were being sampled so doggone much.
I heard Computer Love a lot as a kid, and I never thought it was weird because it just is. Like, it just what was. Like, I didn't have anything else to compare it to. So I didn't know that it was weird till much later. Now, there is an episode of Three's Company where I think by 1985, I think it had already been off the air, where Jack was participating in a computer dating service.
Yeah.
So they were on to something here where it's this record is very smart, because as Computer Love, they're doing all of this studio wizardry, but on the backdrop is traditional pop music. You got shooby-doo wop wop bop ba-da-ba-dee-ba, shooby-doo wop. So they're doing that where it's humanity is still there and technology is involved as well. So we're cyborging it, but everything is in its right place on this. I looked at the comment section. Ahead of its time was one of the motifs going on about describing the song. Way ahead of their time.
Right. And just, I love these unofficial groups where everybody's singing and they're doing all of this, because that's the challenge in this period of time too, right? You got musicians mixed with technology trying to remain musicians. And so you will hear a lot of artists talk about this era negatively. Like, hey, man, it's the early 80s. People start cheating on the drums. People start doing all these electronic keyboards. But some of these guys, like a Zapp and the Roger, like those guys, they said, okay, it's a little bit easier to put music together. We're just going to put more music in the same spot. We're going to layer vocals. We're going to do weird stuff with the bass, but we're going to make sure the bass is slamming. And of course, because it's funk, everything's on the one. And so it's 4/4. We talk about Dirty Projectors and how they would mess with your head. But like, as weird as these guys are, everything's on the one. It's common time. And so you got this guy again. I keep talking about him having the straw for the instrument to the talk box. And he's standing there on the video with the straw in his mouth making funny faces because he knows it's weird that he's doing this. And he's just singing his tail off and he's just doing it. So get into these lyrics. Like, it comes on and when during this time, 70s and 80s, like when guys knew they had a ballad that was killer, they would kind of do that whole, we're going to let it breathe before we start singing. And so you just got this strong bass line going. And then when Roger sings, he just says computerized. The first word out of his mouth is computerized. And then he goes into his Roger, oh baby, a beautiful love. And then he just yells out computer love with the talk box as loud as he can. And now you're a kid and you just sit at the house and you just hear computer love. And you're like, what is going on? What is a computer? And why does he love the computer? I don't know what's going on, but this is jam and I'm going to keep going. And then Roger comes back into his normal voice and he's like, I've been searching for someone who can share that special love with me. And your eyes have that glow. Could it be your face I see on my computer screen? I need a special girl to share in my computer world. I no longer need astrology thanks to modern technology. What?
Yes! I love it!
Now, I've heard the lyrics argued about quite a bit. So I've also heard I no longer need a strategy thanks to my technology. Either one works, right? But
I love it.
Either way, it's like, who is this guy in 1985 to be thinking, hey, because think about astrology from the idea of 70s and 80s R&B music, where people keep talking about, hey, this is what my sign is. This is what your sign is.
Let me put my chain out.
Yeah, let me put my chain out so you can see I'm this sign and that's compatible with your sign. So we got to hook up and get together. And he's like, I don't even need that anymore now because I got my computer now.
He's basically saying, I'm going to use analytics. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. This is on some future stuff. And like the whole thing about being released in 1985 is such a special year. So like, speaking of, I don't need astrology, but the stars aligned for this record.
I see what you did there.
Computer love.
With a straw in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do. So go just get a regular straw and put it in your mouth and try to say computer love while still keeping the straw in your mouth. That straw is going to be on the floor. You guarantee it. So like, this is it. And then like you say, they get to the chorus and he just all of a sudden goes into a shooby-doo-bop, shoo-doo-bop, I want to love you. Shooby-doo-bop, I want to love you, computer love. And it's like, wait, what?
And see, that's beautiful because again, the whole thing about, we're talking about this future talk. However, we're not going to throw away the past.
Yeah. And again, This is all common time. Like, this is a very weird song, but the timing is so common that you just keep going. Like, there's nothing to really throw you off. So
because you can still play the song straight.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You can still play it straight.
Yeah. So it's like you get to the second verse and it's like, I've been around from hot, sexy mamas to cool prima donnas. I want to share your treasure, oh so rare, because it's your face I see on my computer screen. And then he goes in the Roger voice again and says, won't you keep me warm tonight? You are such a sweet delight. And then Shirley Murdoch comes in and she's like, I will cherish the memory of this night. Yes, I found my computer love. And they just go off after that. There's no more words to the song. They do the chorus and then they just vamp out and lose their minds. And they just leave Charlie Wilson in there by itself and he just sings them out. Roger's still in the back with a straw in his mouth, still singing. And it's for some reason, it all works. And it's just, this is one of these foundational records that pretty much most of the people in our age group, we doggone know this song. We've heard it a million times. It was just everywhere. At the function. Which now people call the unction now, because, this is what the unks are listening to.
Yeah, this was at the unction. This was for us, this was in the background everywhere. Like, probably like the summer of 85. This was everywhere. That dum, 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 I saw someone online, they were like, hey, if you rub your feet together and it's making that computer love, it's time to get a pedicure.
Yeah. Wow. So,
yeah, I think as a kid, I just took it all in. I think I thought that, but things kind of just sound like that or something, so I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think like, wow, this is pretty hot.
Yeah, for whatever reason as a kid, I very directly remember asking like my aunties and like my parents, like, so what is he talking about? Like, what does he mean computer? Like he's gonna make a person in the computer? Like what? Like
he's gonna do weird science? What's happening?
Yeah. But it's funny to think this is kind of like, this is how he was thinking about it, right? So even I don't need astrology thanks to my technology, to modern technology, or I don't need a strategy because I'm just going to make the woman of my dreams and she'll have to be with me. And it's like, ooh, Roger, I got some bad news for you from 2025, buddy. That's not how any of that works anymore, buddy. Like, no. You're
thinking about muddy waters like 1940 sharecropping and stuff. It's kind of different now, Roger.
Like, it's way different now, Roger. And it sucks that Roger isn't here to like answer questions about what in the world is going on in his mind. Because this is the type of situation where you could just lie. And just if he was still here, there's no telling what he would say this song was about. But now everybody's just kind of left to kind of make it up on their own. But if the song is nothing else, it's weird. It's a jam. I would say for Zapp as a whole, like a lot of their hits are just up tempo dance floor music because they're in that Jerry Curl jam band. The songs don't even really have lyrics to it. It's just kind of like a hook and a bridge, and maybe there's not even really a lot of depth in the verses. And this, like, again, for the ballads, people felt like, oh, okay, it's a ballad. I got to say something on this. And this is what he decided to say. Because these guys are crazy, man.
Okay,
and they're so good, though.
Something that you brought this episode brings to my attention is the whole thing of, okay, we're in the 70s and we're doing funk. But now we're in the 80s, we're in a whole new decade and there's different aesthetics. Now what? And as a kid, I never thought of this as, hey, this is people where I was in that funk era and now I'm in this different era. So now this is what I'm doing. So I remember Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder, they have a song called Ebony and Ivory.
Yeah.
But the way that I was introduced to that song was Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo performing it. Joe Piscopo, yeah, Eddie Murphy was Stevie Wonder and Joe Piscopo was Frank Sinatra. and they're playing it at the piano. So I'm like, yeah, Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney, they're piano men. But then when I finally heard the song, it's so much like 80s aesthetics in it. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I'm like, no, I really don't like that song. Like, I love the idea of it and like it being played on piano stripped down, but all that 80s stuff on there. But this, who produced this? Because the production on this is top notch.
Well, this is the band, right? This is Zapp, and Zapp is a lot of Troutman brothers, right? Like that's almost the whole band. And of course, Roger is the front man for it and doing a lot of the, building how the sound is going to work. But yeah, it's Lester. One of the brothers, his name was Terry, and the name of the group was based on his nickname. So his name was Terry Zapp Troutman. And so they called the whole group Zapp, even though the front man was Roger. Kind of like Kool and the Gang, where the guy that was cool was not the front man of the group. It's kind of the same type of thing. So it's all of them, man, and they're playing on it. And again, based on the type of group they were doing a lot of jamming and then coming up with the lyrics in some cases afterwards. And again, their first album was mid 70s. They ducked off for a while. And then they started doing Zapp albums and solo Roger albums, which is a weird thing to do. But again, they were doing it. And they were kind of, the thing about a group like this, man, is you look at the way we gauge artists now and the way we want to treat music like it's a Scantron multiple choice test. And if you get a couple of wrong answers, people act like you failed the test. And a group like this, and a lot of the groups in the 80s, especially Jerry Curl bands like this, if you judge them by that criteria, you're going to miss out on like 10 to 20 really good songs. Because if you were to go just hit play on some of these albums, there's albums where there might be only like one song that you even really know. Or there may be one ballad, one up-tempo song that kind of works. But the rest of it is them kind of taking their shots. And so this is kind of another way of me saying the same thing you say all the time. It's like, you got to let these artists do their thing. And eventually, like they're going to give you something that you can deal with, but you're just going to have to understand that sometimes you might get some stuff that you don't like during the part of that experiment. And I think that's kind of the answer to your question of like, what do these funk people do? And it was almost like Zapp and Roger picked up the baton as the P-Funk guys kind of started fading out. So they had already kind of had their runs. They had made their hits. And when you think P-Funk, a lot of their hits, like big hits, is mid 70s to early 80s. They were already having all this credibility, enough credibility to help get Zapp and Roger signed. But then it took a couple years for Roger and Zapp and them to really start hitting. And when they started hitting, by that time, they had kind of separated themselves from the P-Funk guys. The Ohio Players had already broken up. Junie was already with the P-Funk guys. And Zapp was kind of like the next generation of the funk. And so he was just like, well, I'm going to ride this funk as hard as I can. And I'm going to do these up-tempo songs. And I'm going to do the talk box thing. And if people care about the talk box, then I'm going to do the talk box more. And the up-tempo songs are almost all talk box. And the ballads are kind of like a mix of both. So again, it sounds like Roger and Roger singing on a lot of these songs. And even if it wasn't just that, he was getting the Super Friends together too, to fill in with some of these more vocals. So they have like at least 3 or 4 ballads across their music history where maybe Computer Love is the one that people know the most. But it's a really dangerous thing to judge these artists by quote unquote album quality. Cause yeah, they made between the Roger group and the Zapp group. Yeah, they made like 8 to 10 albums, but I mean, I've been riding around jamming all this stuff for like the last week or so. And yeah, these things are spread out across different albums, and it's great, man. So, and again, the jam songs, man, is like the one that's stuck in my head is a song called "Do It, Roger." That's the name of the song, and there's almost no lyrics to the song. It's like 8 minutes. I sent it to you, and it's just 8 minutes of "Do it, Roger, do it." And then the people in the back are like, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's still doing it. And he's like, let me do it. And you're like, okay, I think I understand. The song is "Do It, Roger." You're currently doing it. I don't know what you're doing, but you really want us to let you do it. Okay, we're just going to let you have it.
I think because, all right, these folks, they're coming from a time where, all right, so we're listening to a CD, we can skip it. Heck, even when we're listening to a cassette tape, we can fast forward. We can do some fast forward action. So we're not really pinned down to, I have to be stationary and listen to this. So now, we're downloading our phone. We can be on the go. And it's like, I'm only going to download like 3 of these songs or whatever. I'm not going to listen to a whole album. So they're coming from a time where it's like, okay, I got this record and I'm going to drop the needle and I'm going to be sitting here listening to this. Or I'm going to at least be cooking some food and playing this in the background. So, hey, if I'm going to do it, Roger, do it. And it's going to be 9 minutes, that's fine because they're playing this out of function. They're inviting people over to play and playing this in the background. So that's so as far as like, we don't have that much lyrics going on. It's like, well, it's because the rumors are in here vibing.
Yeah.
And then later where it's like, oh, okay, these people can listen to this stuff on the go. All right. I might need to give them a reason to go, hey man, sit in your room and put your headphones on and study these Rakim lyrics.
Yep. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways to get it right. And again, like that early 80s, there's so many roller skate jams, club jams. And again, people were just like, we got the jam. We're coming from this post P-Funk being a hit universe. And they were just like, man, we're going to be weird and we're going to make stuff that people like and we're going to let them dance to it. And we're not going to ruin it with too much stuff to make you think about it too much. Even if you're going to try to throw some social commentary in there, you're just going to kind of throw it in and be like, but I want you to dance. And it's like, oh, okay. Like if you think about Zapp's song, I Can Make You Dance. And it's like, it's just them saying, I'm going to make you dance if you want me to. But then during the verse, Roger is like, I keep hearing that the world's in a real bad way. And then they go back like, but I can make you dance. Like, like, forget all that right now. The point is that I'm gonna have this straw in my mouth. I'm doing my part. I'm trying to make you dance. Why don't you just go? If you want me to make you dance, I got the jams. Here you go. Just dance. Don't worry about it. And it's like, okay, cool. And then when you get tired, here comes Computer Love.
So, okay. So is he in the California Love video?
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's him. That's before he passed away, right? That's him standing on top of a thing like an eagle or something, talking about Shake It, Baby, which of course is an interpolation from one of his songs. So, because, it's Dr. Dre, so there's going to be interpolations going on all over the place.
California Dreaming. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that was in high rotation?
Yeah, I mean, that song was everywhere, and I remember seeing Roger and being like, oh my God, that's Roger. Like, I knew it was him as a kid. I mean, and then as a teenager, I was like, oh man, they got Roger. They got actual Roger. And he's got the straw in his mouth still, but he's dressed up like an eagle or something. I don't know what's going on this Mad Max video, but
and in the end, they let him go off. Remember Roger on that straw, that like when you got to hear the long version, that went for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they knew. Like they knew, like, man, we are taking so much from this dude. We took so much from the P-Funk as far as the sampling of the music and the sound and the beats per minute. the bass lines, like this stuff is like the tapestry. Like this is a lot of patches on our quilt. And if these guys are still around and we can get them on the scene with us to come in, even if they come in and sing the same thing they sang 15, 20 years ago, we don't care. Like, we're going to get them. And then when they found out these guys weren't making money or they had blown all their money or whatever, they were really like, man, let's get these dudes on the scene. Let them do their thing. And yeah, Roger had a whole resurgence. Like when we were teenagers, like mid 90s, he was popping up on songs, doing duets with people. Like he was there, man. He was back all the way. And I mean, to get into a little bit of the sad part of the story is like him and one of his brothers, got into some kind of dispute about what they were going to do going forward once he was already kind of back. So let's say California Love is spring of 96, fall of 95. And by 99, I guess things had gotten really bad between him and one of his brothers. And things went bad somewhere outside of a studio. And then they both ended up, not alive anymore, which of course, again, sucks. And you wish they could have worked it out, but obviously we weren't there. We don't know what happened, but imagine these 2 and 3 hour podcasts we have now. Imagine somebody really tying Roger down and being like, dude, Computer Love, what were you talking about, dude? Come on. Tell us, man. Could it be your face I see on the computer screen? Come on now. Well, come on, Roger. What's going on?
He predicted the future.
Yep. We'll never know, but we can all guess now.
Computerized.
It's hard to do. I don't even have straw in my mouth.
Oh, God. No, this is great. Guys, you got to go back and listen to this again. This is way better than what you remembered.
It was just understood. You could throw it on at any time. It was like 5 or 6 minutes long. I think there's an 8-minute version depending on which one you had, but most of people had like the 5 or 6 minute version. And like most funk songs, like they kind of know how to start it, but they don't know how to end it. So they just keep singing.
Roger, Zapp, Computer Love, man. I mean, this went from the 70s to the 80s into the 90s and could have continued. Unfortunately, some bad things happened, but man, like, I can't stress enough how much this song, I guess whenever it was in heavy rotation, I heard it a lot at the unction, at the cookout. Wow, man. Yeah, it's this and the, what are you going to do when he gets out of jail? We're going to have some fun. What kind of fun? That song and Computer Love. I remember that in background rotation, and it just felt like it was in the air. It felt like no one hit play on a radio or nothing. It was just on.
Right. I mean, what's the word? Ubiquitous. Like it's just it was everywhere. And we, like, outside of me being a jerk asking questions, I mean, everything was, I was just asking questions about what the song was about. I wasn't telling nobody to turn it off. I was having the time of my life. And then when I got, with the 90s, and again, I went sample search crazy, and I just kept hearing it over and over and over. And I was like, man, people, I don't know what it is about this song that people love producer wise. But now I know it's like, yeah, it's the tempo of it. It's the bass line. It's just hard, man. Like this is just yes. And they just killed it. They killed it, man. This is just like a success. And again, if you go back and just push play on some Zapp albums, you'll hear some stuff where you're like, okay, this didn't work. But then you'll hear like one of these amazing up-tempo songs with the Zapp, I call it the Zapp clap, and the West Coast without that Zapp clap, and some of the noises and sounds and ad-libs that came from the Zapp catalog, man, it would be, the cupboards would be bare for some of these West Coast artists because, man, they used a lot of it. And the mood of it, they used a lot of it. So these guys, and, they were in the process of getting their flowers. And again, like we joked about them coming back and having Roger on the scene. He was on the scene enough to be getting costuming. So that let you know they wanted him there. So it was a really good time.
So the Zapp and Roger tune, Be All Right, that's the
genesis of Tupac's Keep Your Head Up?
Oh my goodness, Be All Right. Of course, that's the sound bed for Tupac's Keep Your Head Up. So that's where a lot of people know it from, just to know that again, they were taking a lot of different swings. So it wasn't just the crazy, cool, weird ballads. It wasn't just the zap, clap, get on the dance floor and dance for me stuff. They had stuff like that too, hiding out in their different albums. So it's just, again, they're a more multifaceted group than maybe they got credit for, because, people get boiled down to their greatest hits, or, just if you don't have that amazing, perfect album for people to latch on to, people will kind of underrate you a little bit. And so I think Zapp is really worth getting into. You can put together an hour and 15-minute playlist, and yes, 10 minutes of it is going to be Do It, Roger, Do It. But if you can just let that slide and understand that the dance music was about making you dance, and it wasn't about a lot of subtext. And I know this is coming from me, and my credibility might be a little low because I'm always talking about subtext, but the point was jamming, man. And they brought it like for a good long time in the 80s.
And wasn't it also part of H-Town's Somebody's Rockin' Knockin' the Boots?
Ah, man, yeah. There you go. That's another one. Yeah. I mean, they were there. I mean, obviously that's pitched up and tempo different, but yeah.
Wow, man, what a life, what a career, what a contribution to like just the human experience.
Yeah, man, it's another one of these bands, and I mean, I could do episodes about these different bands, because there's so many of them, and maybe they weren't as successful, and they certainly didn't have the same impact on future music. But then this is another commercial for the value of hip hop too, right? Like, man, it's just hip hop taking these artists that just because they weren't the thing anymore, or the labels didn't want to put money into them, or you got a weird group that the stuff they're doing could maybe only work in one era, and then you get the rappers bringing it back, and then it gets to survive multiple eras to the point where we're talking about a 40-year-old song, right? Like that helps. It really does help keep some of this music in the mind and in the hearts of some of the people that can remember the unctions and the get-togethers. Like, maybe without hip-hop, even more of these songs would be forgotten.
So, hey, where can the people locate us, Arthur, if they want to talk about like their history with this record, Computer Love?
Computer.
Yeah.
They need to get on their computer. And they need to go to On The Record Jams on the Twitter or the X. They can do On The Record on our Facebook page. We got On The Record Jams at gmail.com. You can do that too. OTJR on Bluesky if you're not an X person anymore. Also, we post the episodes on YouTube and Amazon as well, so those have comments, and so there's a lot of different places to keep the conversation going, which of course we would like to do. And maybe we can make a new challenge or something, like the Sing Like Roger with a Straw in Your Mouth challenge, and without losing the straw. You figure out how hard that is. Maybe you appreciate Roger even a little bit more outside of just the jams.
Send us your audio on that. We probably upload it. And ontherecordjams.libsyn.com/blog. I'll put that link in there. You click on that to find this episode and previous episodes of On The Record Jams. So, hey guys, until next time, keep your lamplight trimmed and burning.
Keep jamming too.